cholesterol is real, my friends. The Kate Daly Show starts now.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
If it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally.
A new world order. These allegations are false. Weapons of mass destruction. The USA Patriot Act. The blueprint for large corporations.
We once were, we are no longer a Christian nation.
Donald Trump confirmed that he is considering a run in 2016.
Do it. I am officially running for President of the United States.
He will never be President of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected President of the United States.
People are watching these results come in.
We're going to make this decision now. Donald Trump will be the 45th President of the United States.
Does it ever seem to you that President Trump has done more than any president in modern history?
In the 10 years I've been involved in politics, I've never seen an administration hit the ground running like this.
I could spend the rest of the hour laying out the accomplishments under the Trump presidency, despite everything thrown at him.
The market just had its 12th straight record close.
Taking action to save as many kids as they can.
We were energy independent under the Trump administration.
More Americans reported being employed than ever.
Helping those who have served our country in the military to get access to mental health care.
The Great American Outdoors Act is the largest single piece of legislation to support our national parks and public lands.
Created more than 7 million good-paying jobs.
Websites can be held liable in court for having sex trafficking content.
The Abraham Accords, which for any other president would have been multiple peace prizes.
America did not enter into a foreign war.
The unemployment rate in the U.S. fell to 3.5%.
The First Step Act eases federal sentencing for nonviolent offenders.
Increased funding for historically black colleges and universities.
Allows terminally ill patients easier access to experimental drugs.
Kept the inflation rate low.
Honored with the Bipartisan Justice Award.
Had a massive MS-13 gang problem.
3.9% is the unemployment rate.
Requiring airports to provide lactation rooms for breastfeeding mothers.
Middle-class family income increased nearly $6,000.
A dramatic escalation in his crackdown on illegal immigration.
An advocate for educational choice.
Tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
An act preventing animal cruelty and torture.
Taking out Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, Soleimani, the Iranian general.
Save Our Seas Act commitment to environmental issues.
We're saying Merry Christmas again.
Community development in low-income urban and rural communities.
Help us to remember the importance of fighting off tyranny.
Pulling out of UNESCO, the World Health Organization, the Paris Climate Accords, reassessing NATO and the United Nations.
Stood up for Christianity and the Constitution more than any president in American modern history. We are stopping the attacks on Judeo-Christian values. Can you feel it coming? Do you miss me yet?
That was a long intro, I know. That was the Trump ad. And I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about the good, the bad, everything in between. I want to have a very open and the most honest conversation about the presidency. We're going to talk about his presidency, but about presidency in general, what it's supposed to be today. Chris Ann Hall will join us in the next hour, and she'll be chiming in on this too. I think because obviously this is on everyone's mind. Okay, our news, our commandeered, hijacked, horrifying news everywhere will only focus on this, and I know people are focused on this. So we have to talk about all those points that were made. I'm going to talk about each one of them.
In all fairness, and I don't know how you have been about this, but since last October, I've been on the edge of my seat, wondering if Matt Perry died because of his own drug abuse or if somebody else was involved.
I can't believe
and that's big in the news today. So,
wow.
yeah, it's relieved a lot of frustration for me. I haven't been able to get it off my mind since October.
Edge of your seat, I bet. Oh my gosh. Sometimes it's just so.
It's ridiculous.
Also, we want to give you a chance to weigh in on this, and maybe there's some things we'll miss. I'm sure there will be, so you can call up. Now, I come to you from 888-673-1450 is the call-in number if you're listening to us live in the afternoon. Tomorrow, I have John Schneider, the actor, Dukes of Hazzard. He's very conservative, and he's been speaking out a lot. And I have him, and I have Michael Yon, who will be talking about what's going on overseas. So we're going to cover that tomorrow, and I know that's in the headlines today. All the stuff going on overseas. But I do want to take this point by point, and I really want to dissect it, go through it, because I think that it's fair to have a really big picture, fair conversation about everything. I do come with a little bit of a bias. I actually really like Trump. So know that when I'm saying all of this, I actually really like him. And I know lots of things about him personally that make me feel that way. And so, I'm a little more biased toward him than I am away from him. And I'm still trying to analyze and look at big picture, but I'm just telling you that's how I feel from the get-go. I'm not going to talk about all the points of Hormala. I don't need to. She's so grotesque. I don't need to. Everything's a crap show with her. So I don't need to. But we do need to do this with this, because this ad said a lot of things. We need to go through them. And, okay. So here, let's go through. Let's start going through. The Merry Christmas thing. I love. That's great. Merry Christmas is great. And I'm glad that he says it. And I'm glad that he does not put up the White House in rainbow. Those are positives in my book.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, yeah, thank you for that. That's great.
I saw a clip yesterday of Kamala saying, we're not going to say Merry Christmas anymore. Just the opposite.
Yeah, she's a hot mess.
Yeah.
She's a communist whore. I could care less about her. But this is the things that were mentioned that were positive. He did not take down Assad. That is a good thing. He did not take down Assad. Obama clearly wanted to set it all up to take out Assad. Actually, the people in America were like, no, we don't want this. We're getting really tired of you guys going in and taking out who you want and putting in who you want. And so actually it was the people, it was the temperature of the nation too that helped that as well. Okay. They talked about energy independence, more energy independent under Trump. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Okay. Child trafficking coalitions. I don't know that we've stopped anything. I don't think the big guns were named. I don't think anyone that's running a child trafficking ring was named. If we say coalitions to go after it, I'm not quite sure how big that got. There was a lot of mentioning, but I don't know that any progress was made on that. To be honest, I'm just trying to dissect that. I don't really know that the big guns were ever named, and I think they should have been in the royal families, in government, and Hollywood. All of the real perpetrators at the top should have been named, but they have not been.
And they changed the border crisis from child trafficking to drugs.
Right. Yeah. Inflation, low, gas low. I think we can all agree, looking at our own pocketbooks, that was the case. Is it a role of a president? I know that we all assume that it's the role of the president to control all of that. It's not supposed to be. If you're going to talk constitutionals, they should have nothing to do with that.
But it is the role of the president to reverse policies that were put into effect to prevent private industries from going after more energy.
Yes. Okay.
Which is the problem.
Right. So I know we're in a big heap. So I totally get that. Made some peace progress. Okay. Fair. That's fair. You could say that. And we didn't have a new war, although we didn't remove what was over there. And of course, we didn't do it in the way Biden did it, which was a disaster. But no new major wars. Also, the claims are he got us out of ISIS, or got rid of ISIS. ISIS was made by us, but that was never put out there. ISIS was our creation. The matching tennis shoes, matching Toyota trucks, ridiculous. So yes and no. So we stopped with the ISIS talk, which Obama was all about. That's all Obama wanted to do was talk ISIS. It was, one of their creations. But we did stop talking about them, and he did meet with North Korea and got that narrative off the table.
Yep.
That was a good thing that happened, that we got North Korea off the table. Because they kept telling us that North Korea was going to nuke us every 5 minutes for about the last 20 years. And we all realized that that's horsepucky, right? I mean, come on. Nobody really believed that, right? Okay. Okay. So at least he got rid of that narrative for the time, which was nice. Low unemployment. Was it the lowest unemployment since 1969?
Yep, low.
Again, constitutionally speaking, not a role for the president to be in charge of jobs creation or unemployment or employment. But we have gotten used to it being dialed down to the presidency each term.
It's not only not the president's job, it's not government's job to worry about employment. And nothing irritates me more when you hear a president say, we created 2 million jobs.
Right.
Because if the government created those jobs, all they are doing is using our taxpayer money to give somebody money for a job that doesn't really exist.
Right. Right. The takedown of MIS gang leaders, that was in there. And I don't know that we, maybe, okay, yeah, there were a few, and that's good. We needed more, but that was good. Also, required airports to provide lactation spaces. That's not the president's role to do that. No. I don't know that I would have highlighted that. I think that is something that I don't think people really care about that. I don't think it's an interesting thing, but that was highlighted in the ad.
Well, I imagine there's people on both sides of the issue, but it's their responsibility. If a guy wants to walk around an airport looking for lactating women, that's his business.
Right. Or the lactating women, I guess, liked it. I don't know.
Or they want to hide it.
But it does. I mean, I don't know why they included that. And the environmental stuff that was passed, it was a Environmental Protection Act, actually. And that wasn't good. That's not to go environmental is not good. Okay. More protection for the feds is not good. But that was highlighted as a plus, but a plus for, say, a Democrat or somebody like that wants the government to do all of that. Yes. But I wouldn't have highlighted that. Not a good move. Biggest one ever. Protection. Anyway, be right back. Kate Daly Show.
Thanks for listening to The Kate Daly Show. All opinions expressed by the program participants on The Kate Daly Show are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Patriot Radio, KSGO, Canyon Media, or